Well, here we are, actually the site of Jonathan Swift's birth, Hoey's Court. Sadly, it's waiting development or redevelopment at this stage. So he was born here 30th of November 1667. He had the misfortune of his father dying 6 months before he was born. And as soon as he was born, his mother basically hightailed it back to England, to her family. And he was taken by the nurse to England for a couple of years and then came back to Ireland. His uncle Godwin looked after his education, but the one thing he lacked all through his early life was love and family. Jonathan Swift went to Trinity College at the young age of 14, and he intended staying there, but the Glorious Revolution, as they called it, the war between King William and King James broke out. So he went to England, and he stayed there for the rest of his young manhood. He tried to get himself promoted, ultimately to be Archbishop of Canterbury, he thought. It wasn't to happen. And he seemed to always back the wrong horse, the wrong political party at the wrong time. And he had to put up in 1713 with getting the deanship of St. Patrick's Cathedral. He was disappointed, but typical of Jonathan Swift, he threw his heart, soul and mind into the job. Well, this is the absolutely outstanding Marsh's Library, named after Archbishop Marsh and opened in the very early 1700s. It's Ireland's first public library. Archbishop Marsh, of course, was the Archbishop of Dublin when Jonathan Swift took up the job as Dean, and the two of them didn't get on very well. In any case, books. That's what Jonathan Swift was all about himself, writing so many satirical books. He didn't really write the books just to satisfy his satirical outlook on life. What he was really thinking about was the poverty of Dublin, the mismanagement of Ireland, and all that went with it. So his books are really a dig at the British government, at the Irish government, and they could sometimes be extremely harsh, extremely cruel. And Jonathan Swift was so impassioned about the injustice that he found in Ireland at the time that the acerbic quality of his satirical works, they haven't been approached by anybody since. This is Jonathan Swift's Cathedral, St. Patrick's. Jonathan Swift was Dean from 1713 till 1745, and he served it with great distinction, even though he got on people's nerves to a large extent, especially the authorities. But Jonathan cared for the religious end of his duties. He gave a famous sermon once every month. His pulpit could be moved. If he saw people asleep in the cathedral, his pulpit came right over to them so he could bark right on top of them. He was not a man to be trifled with, we know that. But a third of his income he spent on the poor of Dublin. And when he died, he left a third of his legacy to the founding of today's St. Patrick's Mental Institution. His legacy is huge. And also his legacy in his social awareness against social injustice is as relevant today as it ever was.